Quaid Azam Part 262. Gandhi continued to have the highest regard for Jinnah's single mindedness, his great ability and integrity, which nothing could buy. Surely Jinnah the patriot would not insist on freedom to engage in a fratricidal war or to do things that would weaken the two parts, taken as a whole economically in regard to defense. That was why Gandhi had knocked on his door, presented his cards to him for examination, and entreated him to produce his without any mental reservation. However, he had to contend against the loaded dice. The correspondent makes clear, wrote Dr. M.R. Jayakar, the eminent jurist and liberal leader from Maharashtra, to Gandhi, that any day Mr. Jinnah would prefer a settlement with British rather than with his own countrymen. He will use this formula as bargaining counter with the British government and also as a as the starting point in future negotiation with Indian leaders. This was virtually the last sustained effort that Gandhi made to somehow, any reasonable how, avoid a partition which he consistently termed as vivisection of the country. On the borders of India, a war raged. He and Jinnah both were no longer young men. Time was fast running out for all the principal actors. The choice was stark: to make an effort knowing it might come to or not, or let matters drift. For a united India, Gandhi tried but did not succeed. Public expectations having been raised, filled with hope, were shattered. In consequence, this last effort by Gandhi is often criticized, but for him it was his dharma to try. Desai Liaquat Pact, a premature delivery. It was at this stage, when everything looked so hopeless and bleak, that Bulabai Desai, a lawyer and a prominent Congress member of the Assembly, made his efforts at finding a solution to the political impasse. In view of the vastly changed war situation and also the politics in India, Bulabai and his Congress party had given up their boycott of the central legislature and resumed their seats. Here, Bulabai came to terms with Liaquat Ali Khan, and deputy leader of the Muslim League in Legislative Assembly, and often defeated the government in the period February-March 1945. It was understood that Bulabai and Liaquat Ali had arrived at an agreement or a plan, the basis of which was that Jinnah and Desai, the leaders of two opposition parties in the assembly, should form an interim government at the center within the present constitutional framework and appoint all members of the Executive Council, all of whom, except the Governor General and the Commander in Chief, should be Indian. Also, that there was to be a parity between the Hindus and Muslims in the Executive Council. To quote Motilal Stevlot, to quote Motilal Sitalwad, Motilal Sitalwad, who knew Bulabai very well, though Gandhi had been released, the members of the working committee of the Congress and the other leaders had remained in jail. Bulabai had, towards the end of 1944, at the beginning of 1945, held conversation with the Viceroy on the possibility of forming an interim government with the consensus of both Hindus and Muslims. Evidently, his relations with Liaquat Ali Khan, who was a member of the Muslim League group in the assembly and the right hand man of Jinnah, was very cordial. Some of these conversations appeared to have taken place in January 1945, when proposals for the formation of an interim government were discussed. The first act of the interim government was to be the release of the imprisoned leaders Bulabai, in whom Gandhi had great confidence, consulted Gandhi about the proposals on more than one occasion, visiting him at Wardha, where Gandhi was then living.